Hello, everybody. How are you? Hopefully good. How are you too?
Great.
Cindy? Piotr?
Thank you.
Very, very good.
So we're going to be talking about marketing right here. But before we even start, I think we can start with both of you guys can tell everybody here, like, how is your company, or what is your company about, like Go-Jek in Indonesia and Uxin in China?
So Go-Jek is Indonesia's largest startup. We're currently valued at $1.4 billion.
Right.
We have 18 services ranging from ride-hailing to food delivery to shopping to you can buy tickets, you can top up phone credit, you can pay for things using our payment system. And just to give you an idea of the scale, in the first 14 months of existence, our app's been running for about 2.5 years. For the first 14 months, we completed 100 million orders, of which 15 million were food. So actually, just our food business is the second largest in the world, outside of China, of course, because everything in China is just 100 times bigger. And yeah, I'm excited to be here and chat a bit about how marketing's changed in the context of tech companies.
Right. And Cindy?
Yep, very good. Good morning, everyone. Very different from Go-Jek. We're actually, Uxin is the largest online used car transaction platform in China. And if you're familiar with used car transaction, it's similar as Auto Trader and CarMax in the United States. And we actually currently we're providing a really wide range of used car services, from one-stop shopping online, and also provide a guarantee after sales, everything. So we already raised around $1 billion in China, so it's the largest one among all the other players. And another thing is, I want to mention, if you have watched the Transformer 5 movie, it is really not really a nice movie, but I think we have done a very successful product placement with the biggest logo ever, Uxin 二手车. It is us. Yeah.
That's amazing, Cindy. Okay, if we're talking about marketing department being separate silo right now, is it gone, or is it still like that, or what do you guys have in mind?
Well, for us, marketing is part of every single part of the product, right? You hear now it's about the customer experience and user experience, right? So it's not just about putting together great creative and great communication and great storytelling. It's about being part of the entire experience. It's about having an impact on how does, in our case, how does the app move from one page to the other? What is the error message? What is the type of feedback that comes back to us from the ecosystem? How do we work towards actual user acquisition? So it's actually spread across so many different departments. Media, PR, customer service, even the way the customer service reps talk to the customers. It's no longer in silos. It's part of each and every aspect of the team.
Right. And with Uxin?
I think I totally agree with you. I don't think the marketing department disappeared, but we're actually everywhere today. So sometimes I always talk to my colleagues, what is CMO? It is not Chief Marketing Officer, it is Chief Miscellaneous Officer. So we're basically doing everything. And for example, we even have like a data analyst in my team to do all the user analysis, to do all the future marketing forecast. We also have product marketing to work with the product team to make sure we can provide better user experience on our app. So we are everywhere, and we start to have more KPI to drive the sales and also acquisition and growth. So I think it's really important nowadays than before. For example, before the marketing department is doing more creative projects and programs, but I think today, especially internet space, we're really bonded with the growth aspect of the company.
Right. But before we dig even deeper into that, because this is everybody that comes here comes from totally different, lots of different countries, right? Maybe you can tell us just a little bit about why and what is the experience that is needed, and why is your companies actually needed in the country where it's at. Why is the experience, people using Go-Jek having that experience that, it saves my life, or it saves my day, as well as yours in China?
So who here has been to Jakarta before?
Oh,
all right, great. Who likes being
mostly.
stuck in traffic in Jakarta? Nobody. All right. So basically, our business was built on the fact that there is a lack of infrastructure. We have about 400 or so thousand drivers and cars and motorbikes, mostly motorbikes. And the business exploded based on the fact that there is no good public transportation in not just Jakarta, but all over Indonesia. So we kind of get things done for you, whether it's getting you somewhere, getting you something, or allowing you to buy something. We kind of make it happen on a daily basis, and that's why the user experience across the board is so important, because people open us every single day. We get in Indonesia, we get about 60, 70 million app launches a day. Right? So these are the types of the numbers that we're looking at, and that's why that experience is so important.
Right.
I can share my experience because I have totally two kind of marketing like background. Before I used to work for Uber, so similar as you did. And the primary purpose of marketing in Uber is to drive the user acquisition and to drive this, like the orders, right? Like, because it's really frequent service. Every day you open it, every day you need to go to work and go home to use the hailing service. So the marketing is basically to make the user understand your products, understand all the functions, and also make them to be like really stick with it. But nowadays, when I'm working in the user car like space, it's a low frequent service. Like in your whole life, you probably only buy 1 or 2 cars. So what's the marketing doing nowadays? It's so different than before. So we're actually doing 2 things. One is use marketing as an important tool to educate the market, because in China, people don't like used stuff, right? We don't want to live in the used, like a second-hand property, and we don't want to use the second-hand cars, and we don't want to use like used clothes, but it's changing now. So basically the first part is we want to educate the market, tell people it's a new service, it's a disruptive technology. You can buy and sell cars online and you don't need to go to a like offline market. And the second thing is we need to make people trust our platform, because it's totally online and you don't need to meet the dealers or the other users, like, you know, in person. So to set up the trustworthy kind of like environment is really important. But I think we're moving towards to another like a different space for marketing as well. Yeah.
Right. Now that we know a little bit deeper about both of your companies, we're back to talking about being CMO. What is actually your role? What do you think is your role being a CMO?
I don't know about you, but for me, it's firefighting every single day. It's just, no, I mean, in all honesty, it's about solving problems, and it's about solving problems that come up on an everyday basis, because now that the roles have kind of split across multiple departments, every day is different. That's why I wake up every morning, because you have your kind of list of things to do, and by the time you get to the office, you kind of throw that list away because so many things have come up in the morning already.
Right.
And yeah, I mean, you know, every single day is different. One of the other things, and I don't know what it is, what's like for you, but every day is a constant learning experience, right? I find now that I read more than I ever did in university, than I ever did in high school, because the speed of innovation is so fast that if we're not on top of things, then we won't be able to help our companies innovate.
Right. Cindy?
Well, of course, we're like doing like all the problem solving every day. I think the CMO is really a sad job, because I need a clean sheet every day to make my team members have a really like independent and creative space to think of great ideas. But of course, I think for me, especially nowadays, working in not really a marketing-driven or branding-driven industry like used car space, every day we need to innovate new techniques to make our customers happy.
Right.
And there's no benchmark at all. It's not like in the consumer, like FMCG's industry, you have a lot of like nice best practice you can learn from. You have like standard branding journey you can rely on. But for us, really, we need to go out to do a lot of experiments to find out, for example, where our target users, what do they like, and what's the value proposition we should position ourselves. So I think for me, every day is innovation and create. Yeah,
that's great. And if we're talking about brands and sales, which one is more important? Are both probably equally as important?
I think both are really important, but especially for sales. I think branding is something, it is tangible and it's hard to evaluate. And it's normally have the outcome in a really longer term. And I think especially for the very fast growing internet space in China, we do everything to drive the sales and to drive the growth of the users. So yeah, it is my premise.
Well, for us, I would say both are equal. I would say both are equal because you know, sales for the most part are directly connected to price, right? And when you take a look at the on-demand space, whether it's ride-hailing or some of these other verticals, there's big price wars going on globally.
Right.
And fact of the matter is, at some point that's going to end. Mm-hmm. Uber pulled out of China.
And we're not. We didn't.
There's well,
we just
merged.
At
some point it's going to end, and that's where the power of the brand comes in, and that's where you tell the story of who you are and what you stand for, and you build that affinity for the product and the service. It becomes that much more important.
Right.
Right. And you know, I always use the example of Starbucks. Right. Starbucks isn't the best tasting coffee in the world. But people constantly go inside and they buy it. And they buy it because of the brand experience. They know what to expect, and there's an affinity built for it.
Yes.
Right? In Indonesia produces some of the best coffee in the world, yet Starbucks is still killing it. Makes no sense. But it's the brand that's built up and has been able to kind of build that presence. So for us at Go-Jek, we're constantly looking at ways of how can we tell our story in a way that's authentic, in a way that speaks to what our core values are, and at the core of our values is social impact, and at the same time, you know, make sure that our customers understand what we can do for them and how we can make their lives better.
Right. And you?
Well, I think, let's put it this way. I think it's branding something really consistent. It is a value you can provide to your customers, like with a vision. So for example, our vision is connecting you and your dream car, which means we basically do everything to make it is very effective and a very simplified experience online. But I mean, in reality, I think this market in China is still underestimated. There's a long way to go for us to educate the market. So what do we use to educate the market is the branding part. We want to make the users to love brand first and drive the sales afterwards. But the ultimate goal is still we want to make the market is like, you know, big piece of cake for everyone. Yeah.
Yes. Okay. The last thing I know is that Coca-Cola just ditched their CMO, right? Is it worrying for you guys because maybe one day it's not going to be needed? Maybe.
I think, well, first, I think Coca-Cola just changed the title from CMO to Chief Growth Officer, right? So this is basically what we're doing every day, internet company. I don't think it makes any difference. But I don't know you, but well, actually, I haven't done any marketing before. I joined Uber, but like now I'm in the marketing track. I think it's very interesting. I don't think in marketing, like the CMO position doesn't require like very solid or background of marketing or like, you know, any kind of knowledge of that. It's a consolidation of all your past experiences together. So in a very customer-centric world, if you do have like a lot of understanding of your customers, of your product, and you also have, fortunately, you also have a creative mind, I think you can do the CMO job. Yeah.
Right.
I think in a technology company, the actual roles and job descriptions are really blurred. So you know, Coke's been a company that's been around for 100 years. You know, for them to kind of go and do something drastic, like rename. All they did was rename it from marketing to growth, which when you think about it, should have been part of that title anyway. Right. Should have been part of that role anyway, and you know the soft drink industry is not doing too well. So you know they had to take a look at other ways of really getting a focus on their goals in the future.
So basically, it's just a change of names, right?
Yeah.
But then whatever that they do is actually what you guys are doing, so it's pretty much the same.
Yes.
So if people here maybe want to be a CMO or they want to do a better job as a CMO, what's the tip from you guys?
Never stop reading.
Never stop reading.
Never stop reading, and there's always room for innovation in process and in the way things are done. I mean, one of the things that we didn't really touch upon is how we don't work with agencies. And the reason we don't work with agencies is because the speed at which we need to respond to the business requires a different way of working that, you know, we had to make up our own processes and our own management frameworks in order to actually be able to execute the work that we do.
Right.
You know, sure, there's some things that you read in books and you learn in school, but it's a lot of trial and error.
Right.
And it's a lot of frameworks that we had to break down and build up again in order to make it work. What they do may not work for us. What we do may not work for them.
Right.
But we've actually found a way to, in order to do it for ourselves.
Okay.
I would say never stop like doing things on your own, because marketing is really very dynamic job, and it's always moving faster than your companies. You need to really look forward to the future, and you really need to learn from different people from different industry. You need to absorb all the essence of the marketing and the users. So for example, for me, every month I will go to the market well, China is huge, and we have covered like over 300 cities. I always pick up different tier of cities and go talk to the customers myself, and go to the offline second-hand market to check what is going on and what has changed, because we really need to move fast.
Yes.
Every day, the marketing techniques, has some new innovations. For example, the digital part is already play a very important role today, more than 10 years ago. And you need to know all the platforms and all the tools that you can leverage, because it can be viral and it can be more effective than the normal and the traditional approach.
Yes.
So that's why we need to do, and also we need to doing by learning and reading and everything, talking to people. Yeah, just we need to work harder than the other department, I guess.
So out of this talk, what we get is that the marketing department is not dead. It is not. It's just growing, and it's just going to the maybe slightly different platform, right?
Yeah.
We go digital, and then also we try to create experience to the users so that the way you market things is no longer traditional as it used to before, like long time ago when there were like TVCs and all that. So thank you so much, Piotr Jakubowski from Go-Jek Indonesia and Cindy Wang from Uxin. It's a very much pleasure being with you guys. Thank you so much.
Thank you.